Okay, so we're back today to recap 2020/2021 season. There's a few things we want to highlight. You're brushing off your Chelsea badge, I see. So we're gonna talk. Actually, first off, congratulations to you know members of the CMNT. We have Alfonso Davies, we have Jonathan David, we have Kyle Larin. We have Atiba as well. Like they were all champions this season, so that was pretty impressive. I think for me the most impressive one was Jonathan David at Lille, especially given how he started the season, very tough. And then the second half of the season was very strong, contributing key goals. I think the one against PSG, that goal, for me, in my opinion, won Lille the title, and it was only a matter of time. But really happy for the boys. They brought a lot of silverware. So, what are your thoughts?
I've been thinking about how they have really performed this season, and it's actually unheard of, for players from this part of the world, to emerge champions in their various clubs in Europe and to be able to perform well. I mean, seeing how uh, the country where they rank in FIFA ranking and all this stuff. But I'm really, really impressed and really, really surprised as well that these guys came out champions. Um, one in Besiktas and then Leo with almighty PSG just around the corner, and they held up very, very strong. I mean, that's the most surprising one for everyone across Europe. That when you have a squad, of PSG, standard and the type of players they have, you think that no one is ever going to get the league of them. I mean, it's not like FC Bayern Munich that, oof, no matter what you play, you just end up second, I, by the reason of the type of players in FC Bayern. So that of Alfonso Davies is just like a recurring thing, but for Leo and as well as the Besiktas, because it's been a while since they last won the Turkish Super League, you
Yeah,
know.
and on the
So
last day of the season too. I think they won the game on the last day of the season. So
that's very, very impressive. I think they were fighting it with Fenerbahce, right? Yes,
was it Fenerbahce or I have to check that. Yes,
I think it
I
was
think Fenerbahce.
Fenerbahce. Yes, I think it was Fenerbahce, the last game of the season. So that's very impressive. Congratulations to all three of them, and I hope to see these things, personally transcend into the national team. Especially with the World Cup Qatar 2022 qualifiers coming. You know, um, if they can bring that over, to the national team, at least to make the next phase of the qualifying rounds of the World Cup, that will be a very, very big step forward, because if they make it to that next round where they have like how many teams, in the round robin, then might say, okay, there's a chance to make it to the World Cup itself. So congratulations to them. They really, really surprised me. I mean, especially the Besiktas and Lille guys.
Yeah, so it's actually four because Atiba Hutchinson was is
Oh
also
yeah.
is also Kyle Larin's teammate. But yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good season for all of them. And again, like you said, it's this kind of mentality breeds more of those type of players that are hungry for that kind of success. You might not always get it
Yes.
every year, but when
At
you
least
get
once in a
that,
while it should
yeah,
it should happen. Once in a while it should happen. And it's good that it's happening now. You know, for me, I also like it's an inspiration for the young players that are around here to dream. I mean, when your national team players do well, in their various clubs, it brushes off on the desire and you know the desire to play football, and to push and to see that you can still go all the way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So yeah, so congrats to the boys again. And then we'll shift gears to it pains me to actually do this segment. It really pains me to do this.
Woo!
The big game that wrapped up the season for in Europe at least. Champions League final. I mean, I enjoyed the final as a neutral, but my affiliations will not let me enjoy Chelsea's actual success. So that one's more you. You're a Chelsea fan. I'm not a Chelsea fan.
Salute, salute, salute.
but, but we can break down the game. We can get more specific about that. I'll start with my thoughts. I thought
Yeah.
for the first 10 minutes, it was. I thought I don't want to say City were on the front foot, but not super dominant. Like after Raheem Sterling's chance, and
Hmm.
then once that chance went, the game just they never got back into the game in my opinion. They just lost foothold of the game.
Yeah.
A couple things. You're a coach, so you'll talk more about the tactical side. But I think in hindsight, everyone's easily everyone's like they should have played Aguero. They should have played this. Like, shouldn't have done the false nine. True to a certain degree for me, but I think mostly it was the midfield choices that he made
Oh yeah.
that
Hmm.
actually destroyed that game for City. Like, it was very strange, very very strange lineup. Cancelo as well not playing. Just things that I feel like he lives too much in his head. He's too smart for his own good. Like that kind of thing. You don't if you have something that's working,
Hmm.
don't change it too much. Like I understand the
Yeah.
fact that Chelsea has beaten City twice, but this is one of those games where just play your game. It's a final. The boys are already fired up. Just play your game. But from your side, you're a Chelsea fan. How did you see the game?
Trust me, that game, it's for me for the whole season. It was the most nervy game that I watched. I was nervous for the whole of 90 minutes, and I was watching as a fan. So, but after that, the next day and after, I think I've watched the game twice since then to be able to analyze. That was where I was able to make my notes and see what maybe happened in that game. So, but yeah, as a fan, I think I would say we deserve to win, regardless of how the season has panned out for us and how we, struggled into top four. And but yeah, we for a fan, it was a very interesting game. For me, it was one of the I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a Chelsea fan, but also I think it's one of the best Champions League finals that I've seen because of the back and forth, the intensity of the game. It was not really one-sided. Um, so I remember the last Champions League final. It wasn't that maybe because the fans were not there, maybe, but I think that this one was a well-deserved final. The teams were not afraid to attack when they had chances. When the dominance of City with the ball, keeping a lot of possessions, and Chelsea were like really, really dogged in defending, especially after they had gone one goal up. And in during in between times in the game. And as you mentioned, City playing all attacking midfielders, all attacking midfield. They came all out to attack. And
But
I think,
but they never attacked. That's I think that's what's bizarre. Like they played that formation, and in my head, I'm like, okay, maybe you guys want to be too wide open. Maybe you're going to go gung ho. They didn't really do that either. So it's kind of weird.
yes, it's very weird. The thing is this: when you're a player, there are certain players that you see on the field. No matter how attacking they are, the opposite players were like, okay, I think I can deal with this guy. I think I can deal with this guy, because there are no threats in the midfield when it comes to stopping the Chelsea attack, when it comes to running in tackles, when it comes to committing fouls, when it's all those tactical fouls that players do. It's Jorginho, sorry, it's Fernandinho that can do that. It's Rodri that can bring that to Man City, step on a player's feet, go hard on them and all those stuff. You don't expect that from Foden. You will not expect that from De Bruyne. You don't expect that from Gundogan, So, and I think, like I was trying to analyze, in the lineup, Man City, they played more creative players in order to unlock the tight and tough Chelsea defense. I think that's the mentality behind them playing.
So on paper, it made sense to you.
Exactly.
It didn't make sense to me though. Like even Raheem Sterling starting the game, that was that.
It didn't make sense. Why? Because there was no balance in the team. It did not provide the much needed balance, whether it was Chelsea or any other team. And you sometimes see Guardiola, he has done this at times in the Premier League, that there is no defensive player on the field for Man City. All of them are attacking. And, that does not provide balance. And when you have a team coached by Tuchel and the desire from the team, that Man City were playing against, and you don't have the balance there, you wouldn't get the results no matter how you push. Because remember, City will push and push and push, but in between time, Chelsea will launch a counter attack, and those counter attacks are always devastating.
So I agree, and we're going to get to Kai Havertz to go very shortly, but like I'm just looking at last season's Champions League final. You're talking about balance, and I look at a team like Bayern and what they did to win the Champions League last season. They deserved to win the cup, the competition, but they were mostly taking. It was almost like high risk, high reward, and that team, the shape was very unbalanced. Intentionally, of course, it was very intentional what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those ones where we're winning this thing or we're not winning this thing. So your point about balance, I agree, but at the same time, I kind of I'm disagreeing from the Man City perspective, because even if you are going to be unbalanced, at least attack. There was no waves of attack from City. They couldn't move the ball forward. They couldn't have shots on target. Like they had a few spells towards the end, but I didn't really see.
Yes, and honestly, I think it also goes back again to balance. Now, remember when Fernandinho came in, there was a difference in shift in the midfield. That was when they actually started dominating a little bit more in midfield. When Fernandinho came in, before he came in, they were not anywhere. No matter, they could pass the ball in their own 18-yard, first, third, in their own. But once they get in close to Chelsea's, in the middle of the park there, getting closer to the final third, their own final third, which is Chelsea's first third, there's this pressing, there's everything. Chelsea will like step up everything. But when Fernandinho came in, there was a little bit of stability. Now, why I will always go back to the balance is this. When you attack, you have a backup, you have someone who can also help in stopping a counter attack. Because you cannot attack and defend at the same time. It's either you're doing one. So the time you have to defend, who will help in doing the defending? And that was where Man City they were caught off guard, because there was no one to help stop them. There was no one to.
But isn't that why Kyle Walker started? That was the whole idea of starting Kyle Walker instead of Cancelo, because he's.
But where Chelsea were coming from their attack. The first counter. Remember, and for example, Kante operated on the right side of midfield. So Kyle Walker will only play. He was playing as a right back, although he was talking at some point, or he will overlap. And another thing was that let's not forget the defensive masterclass of Chelsea. And there was one player from Chelsea that really surprised me, Ben Chilwell. He matched Kyle Walker. That I had never seen someone match Kyle Walker in a 90-minute game.
I
He
mean,
matched him.
Rhys James also had Sterling in his pocket, which was surprising to me.
Exactly. But if you compare the sizes, Kyle Walker and Ben Chilwell, there's no way they for speed, for stature, for strength, there was no way. But as well, he stepped up his game, and I think that was where he cemented his spot as a Chelsea left back full time. There's no room for Alonso. There's no room for any other person. I imagine even in the near future, 3, 4, 5 years from now, except he falls down. But I will say again, they did not have anyone to do that in the center of the park. The way Kante was operating, there was no one to put a stop to that. There was no one. And that is where before the game started, I don't know if you listened to Alan Shearer when he was talking, it's like Gundogan, how would he will be put to test in defending the back four.
But why do people? I think that surprised me about his role as well. Is I wasn't even too upset with him playing, to be honest, because if people forget very quickly when he was in Borussia under Klopp and his first season at Man City, he's played that position before. It's not new. It's not like that was a new role for him. Just because he's scoring goals this season. He operates as a box-to-box midfielder. He can sit deep if he needs to. He did that most of his first season. So it was just one of those things. I understand your point about Fernandinho as well. It's just I think the shape,
the personality as well. You have to look at the personality of the players.
Yeah,
you have to look at the personality.
And to your point about those tactical fouls, very, very missed. If Fernandinho was playing, that he's a no-nonsense type of guy. So that
exactly
kind of stuff's not flying in.
The first time he came in, just like he stepped on Jorginho. He stepped on him, and Alan Shearer was like, that is basically what was lacking. Because when you do that, there's a psychological approach to this game when you're physical in the game. There's a fear you instill in the attacking player or in that fragile player like Jorginho that he's not physically strong. He's so smart. I think for me, he's the smartest midfielder that Chelsea has. But there's this physical attribute of Fernandinho coming and stepping on his foot, hey, I'm here. Okay, enough of that. There's something that comes up in the player's mind when that happens. Now, Gundogan coming against Kante, the person, it doesn't match. There's no match there, and that is where the balance was not in the midfield. Foden will not always provide that cover to Gundogan, and who was the other one playing on the right side on the right side? I think it was De Bruyne, right? So with that mismatch, I mean, from the 6 players moving forward was not. It wasn't enough.
I think he should have stuck with Foden on the left where Sterling played. If it was going false 9, De Bruyne right there. And then Mahrez on the right, and then the middle, Fernandinho, and then whoever you want. But that was the game. But yeah, congrats to Chelsea.
There was a statement. There was an interview that I watched before that final. It was Rio Ferdinand, and he interviewed Pep Guardiola. And a friend of mine sent me that interview, and he said, "I'm scared about Chelsea in the final."
Because he actually the funny thing is he predicted the game.
Yeah, he said
he didn't have an answer. I saw the interview as well. He did predict what you guys are going to do, but the fact is surprising to me that he couldn't see. If you're so accurate in the prediction of what they're going to do, how aren't you able to stop what they're going to do? How are the fans, who are supposedly not as smart as him?
There was something he said.
It's bizarre.
I if you can remember, he said he likes having the ball. He likes possessing the ball. But what sometimes, maybe he forgot that sometimes he might lose possession. You're never going to have possession for 90 minutes. And And when a team that always have possession without maybe creating some sort of balance of what will happen, the more possession you have, the more chances of being caught off guard in a counter attack that will result in something very dangerous, a goal, a penalty, a red card, and stuff like that. And that is what I also was looking at when I was watching the game for the second time or the third time that I did. It's like, yes, a lot of possession. Man City had it. But when they are caught out of possession, they did not have an answer to solve that. And that is where they lacked that balance. And Chelsea's defensive setup, they were rigid, they were very, very dogged, disciplined, no room for any mistake because they had and they know that Man City, they know what Man City was bringing. And when you know what Man City is bringing, you must be on your game from first minute to the 97th minute of the game. And that was what Chelsea did. And there was no lapse of concentration. Even when Man City had a chance, maybe a cross into the box, the clearance were all spot on because the players were all connected. And they made the contact. When they made contact to clear the ball, they did it with the right part of the body because when you are not connected in the game full time, even if you're about to do a clearance, that's why sometimes clearances become an own goal. But it's not because you're not fully connected in the game. And I think that is what Tuchel has brought to Chelsea. That he's brought a very, very concentrated team that they're switched on from the first minute to the 90th minute. They are switched on. If I remember against Lampard, we will concede early goals. When we concede early goals, it's difficult to come back. Sometimes we'd come back, maybe tie 3-3 and so on. I remember West Brom's game that we tied 3-3. It was just lack of concentration. But that's what Tuchel brought in. That right from the first, and that is also how Man City kill off teams. Because the moment they get into the game, boom, before you know it, Man City have scored. Because the teams are like, okay, let's draw into the game. And no, Man City come in, boom, they see that you lack concentration in the first 5 minutes, they'll score you. And that was what they came to Chelsea. And after that, you have to stay on your game. And that is what Chelsea did to be able to, to survive them. And as well, we had the better, clearer chances of scoring goals, which if we had, would have been like a different story of 4-0. But, it was what it was. And
yeah. I mean, all in all, in all seriousness, though, like looking at the seasons across just the world, I guess you can mostly Europe because Europe has the biggest leagues. I really enjoyed the variety of winners. Like we were talking about Lille in the beginning, Inter Milan as well, Atletico Madrid, even Chelsea winning the Champions League, Villarreal winning the Europa League. These are all things that went against every prediction. Like all the predictions were just like everything, just throw everything out the window. Because the Villarreal game, it was very funny because actually, obviously I was working, but I couldn't tune into the game. But even then, I wasn't checking the updates as often because I thought, United should win. Like this is a game. Like this is an easy game. So
did he hear what Paul Scholes said? He must have repented and regretted what he said of Villarreal. Finished in 7th position and they're very weak.
That's a very dangerous thing. I mean,
that was really.
I mean, even if La Liga is weak, I think people have this. I'm not a fan of when people call leagues farmers leagues, just because I get it. One team dominates all these leagues, fair enough. But because the other teams are so good and so financially dominant, it gives you this weird sense of the other teams are not good enough. But it's actually not true. The other teams are actually serious. I can remember in 2013 when Athletic Bilbao played Man United off the park in Europa League. I think it was a Europa League, and that was Alex Ferguson coaching that team. And this was, I think it was Marcelo Bielsa at the time.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a Bilbao team that was, I don't believe they were top four at the time. I think they were like sixth or something. And the way they dominated United was absolutely ridiculous.
There's one problem I believe that English teams still have. They always forget that when they play Europa or Champions League, they are one-off games. They're just one-off games.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
no tomorrow. It's not like you come to Old Trafford and then you beat Roma, whatever, and then you go to Roma and then you also try to win or you won. But this is a final. You have to respect the team. You have to know that it's a one-off game. They will be giving their best in that, even if they have been playing rubbish throughout La Liga season, and that maybe La Liga is not strong according to him. Who said La Liga is not strong? If La Liga isn't strong, how have they been dominating Europe, for the past couple of years, and then you said that, oh, they finished seventh and they're coming from a weak league, and maybe they do not have very recognized players, but also they have experienced players. Raul Albiol, the Colombian striker Barker, and
Uh,
some other players,
Paco Alcácer is also
Barker
good.
Alcacer, even the guy that scored the goal. And that guy that scored the goal, he was the second top scorer in the Liga this season. It's not as if they're not getting goals. I think he had 21 goals and behind Messi. They
Gerrard.
had yeah. So you don't make those type of statements, but I think he really
Yeah,
undermined him.
I mean,
And there
but
were
to be fair though, like it wasn't the most glamorous game. I enjoyed the penalty shootouts because I tuned
that's
it
that
out.
that's where you enjoy
Yeah,
those things when you're
yeah.
neutral play.
But then I think it's one of those games where even though yes, it's Villarreal, they didn't do anything special, and technically, if United were more sensible with their subs, they should really have won that game because
Yeah.
it became tactical when Unai Emery saw that okay, these guys are getting tired. I'm gonna use all my subs. He used five substitutes, and United, they were just like, oh, we're not gonna make a sub. We're gonna do the same thing that's not working, basically.
Maybe managerial experience as well. Remember, I was telling you the Unai Emery factor. It's not only because in the semifinals that he played against Arsenal that he was an ex-Arsenal boss, but also the experience that he has in Europe. He's the most he's the better experience than Arteta, better experience than Ole. You know, the United manager. So these are the things that he like. It's also a one-off game. There's no coming back. I'll give everything if it works. I do tell people, and I tell my friends, I say every coach's decision is a risk. If it works, everyone applauds him, right? Or he's a genius.
Yeah,
If it
that's
doesn't
true.
work, they say the coach is a failure. You
Fine
know.
margins.
So that this exactly. So the same applied to Guardiola. He took the risk. It didn't work. Everyone is blaming. Did Guardiola beat Chelsea in the finals? They would say, "Oh, without even Gundogan, without even a Fernandinho, Rodri." You know, these are the things that that makes the coaching job very, very
Yeah.
risky and fun as well. So it works for you, you're genius. It doesn't work for you, you are the worst coach. You
And
did this, you
I
did
mean,
that.
at the elite level, though, that's why they pay them the big bucks to make those decisions because it's the fine
It's a
margins.
risk. It's
It's those
exactly.
those ability to take those risks that kind of define you. And to be fair, Pep has won the Champions League twice before, so
Yeah.
for him, I understand like it's a little bit of a stain on his legacy at City. No denying that because he started to overthink things. But at the end of the day, he's won it twice before with Barca. The only stick
Yep.
that people used to beat him with now is, oh, you didn't win it again with another team. They will always say that. But I think for Tuchel is different because this is actually the making of. This is what actually brings him, gives legitimacy to his. He's now an elite. He's joined the elite club. Of course,
Yeah.
as managers get older, things happen. Like you're a human being.
Mhm.
You can't be at that level forever. But
Yeah.
I think that's win because if you look at his records before, I think he's been a very good manager since Mainz, I believe.
Nice. Yes.
And then I really enjoyed his Borussia side because they were I think
They
people,
were devastating.
it's
They were
similar to Klopp,
devastating.
but they were not. It was not just pressing; they were just rapid in transition. Like they were
Yes.
absolutely devastating is the word. Like they used to score a lot of goals, but they always
That is
had that
that.
mental thing of when you get to a certain stage, they used to get overawed by the emotion. Like same thing that happened against Leicester for you guys this season, FA Cup
Mhm.
final. There's just something about those stages for him. Last season, the same thing.
Overthinking.
I think last season the same thing against Bayern. Technically, if he
Oh
was,
Lord.
if the players were about themselves, that game they could have won that game,
Yes.
PSG. But then, this is that time where it's like, okay, I'm not making this mistake, and that's why, that's the thing about coaching. Like if you learn from your previous experiences, I really like when people evolve. I don't want to use the word change because you still need
Mhm.
your ideas, your
Yeah.
philosophy
Exactly.
evolve. And I like, I see when he was at Dortmund, he was a little bit difficult to work with too. But you can
Mhm.
see the way he's evolved. His man management is much better. Like, things like
Yeah.
that. You evolve as a person, and your ideas are not static. Yes, you have a base. I really appreciate when managers do that. Like even when you look at Klopp, they won the Bundesliga back to back with Dortmund. People forget that the guy,
Yeah.
and then he came to Liverpool, and then they lost the Europa League. I think they lost three finals in a row.
Yes.
They lost the Champions League final again, and then I think it was the second Champions League final. I was like, okay, I have to win this because and then it makes you again. It brings you up to a new level. So I like to see things like that. You see a lot of managers come, and I think it would have been the same thing for someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well if he had won the Europa League. But then, to your point,
Yeah.
fine margins.
Exactly.
It's these
Exactly.
kind of things that define your career. It's these kind of games.
Exactly.
You win this game, and it's a different conversation. You're in a different bracket automatically.
You are just you've had it. You just like a step above from where you are, and I think losing this Europa League final has kept him on the same plane. You
Yeah,
know, he has not moved further from that, and it's going to be difficult for him. Even come next season, he has to. There's a lot of teams right now are trying to improve. There are a lot of new managers that are available, uh, clubs that are looking for these world class managers as well. So United might still see themselves struggling a little bit more again, because when it mattered most, he should have. I think they should have just finished the game, in 90 minutes. I mean, with the caliber of players they had, they should have finished it. But as you say, they're just like small little things, fine margins, little details. That's one extra substitution that you can make that will make a difference. You know, those are the things that make a lot of difference. They might like, why is he coming in? But you already know what the player is going to do for you because you've played the game in your head, and the player goes in there and do it for you and does this the thing for you, and it's like everyone like, wow, he just made a change, and then that's it. So sometimes it's just coaches have to like take that little risk.
yeah, yeah. And just you take your philosophy. You don't have to copy someone else. Just
Don't copy
do your
yourself,
thing. Like,
don't copy any other person.
but yeah,
Exactly.
embrace the people
It's
change.
not bad to learn from coach. It's not bad to borrow stuff, but when you borrow all those things, bring it into who you are, what you're
Exactly,
looking for, and
exactly.
then
That's why I use.
build with that.
Yeah, and that's why, yeah, I like managers that have, they have their own philosophy. Great, they can take from other people. Great, but you're always evolving. Like you don't have to be just so static. But I think it was a pretty interesting season, especially the second half of the season across Europe. So
Yeah.
let's turn our attentions quickly to, well, two things. Well, the second one, because Copa America recently just happened. So let's talk about the Euros. Supposed to happen last year, happening this year. I actually took a deep dive into a lot of the squads.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my favorites first. Of course, nothing surprising. France. Uh, I really like the team. I haven't seen them this united for a long time, especially going into actually since Euro 2016. They've had almost the same core,
Yeah.
which is pretty good, and they've obviously been adding on top of that, and they should really have won that one, but they ended up winning the World Cup instead, which
Hmm.
is it's a bigger trophy. So they have a good group now after like years of disgrace. You see, 2010 was an absolute disgrace. 2006,
Wow.
2006 as well. Like things in between. And I think they had a Euros. I think it was 2008. I think that was really bad for them as well. So they've kind
Yeah.
of come out of that bad spell. So obviously they're the favorites. I like Portugal as well, mostly because of two players, João Felix and Andre Silva for me.
Hmm.
Only one of those two had a really good season, which was actually from a trophy perspective. João Felix won; he's a champion. Uh, didn't really have the best of seasons, but
Yeah.
still a talented
Injuries here
player.
and there.
Yeah, but Andre Silva was absolutely fantastic. I'm happy to see him happy again. Like after his AC Milan spell, I didn't know if he'll ever be the player that I thought he was going to be. So looking forward to seeing him again.
Is it the
And
one
then
that went back to Frankfurt?
yes, he's in front. He actually broke their scoring record this season.
Yeah.
Most goals scored in a season by yeah. And then Italy
Well,
is my third. Italy as well. Again, they've been kind of like they didn't qualify for the World Cup last time,
that was
which is
crazy.
embarrassing and for a country of that caliber. But now they're back with a lot of players I like: Barella, Verratti, Belotti, Immobile, Insigne.
Hmm.
They have a fantastic team. I expect them to do well. Obviously, not win the tournament, but I think they'll be entertaining. So those are the three that I'm really looking forward to watching in the Euros.
Yeah, for me, France is. I'm not giving. If they disappoint me, then they disappoint me. But the Blues from France, Alele Blue, I don't. I don't see myself trying to like pitch tents here and there.
Right.
Because the quality that the French team possess. I don't. Benzema is like he never gets tired. He's not. I mean, look at how long he's been playing at the top,
Yeah.
from Olympic Lyon to Real Madrid. Since then, in season out, he has been performing. Even when he had issues with the national team, he never like retired like some people like like quit the international stage. But I think he
Yeah.
kept faith. And when he was recalled, I was like, I'm sure that these people must have been doing some underground, job of reconciling, making sure that things are sorted out because the national interest of the team, it's what's important for them. So now that he's back, with Griezmann and then with Oliver Giroud and then with
Mbappe.
Mbappe,
Yep.
that front line out is very terrifying. Then you go to their midfield, they have more than abundant. I don't even think there's any midfield as good as the
That's
French
that.
midfield. There is none. Whether they had a good club season or not, once they're in that blue color representing France, I think they're different. They're just different.
Yeah. I mean,
Even in their defense,
Kante and Pogba is a crazy midfield.
just imagine that. Then you have Rabiot, and then who else is in that midfield
I
that
think
they've
they have
selected?
Thomas Lemar, but I don't. He's okay.
Yeah, he's just like also a backup because even from the bench, you have a good backup from the bench. And then in their defense, they still have Benjamin Pavard, they still have Varane, they still have this the other left back that plays for also Bayern Munich. I can't remember his name. Um, so they really have Kimpembe from PSG. I think they have a very, very cohesive, strong squad, you know, and I think they're also the most balanced team in Europe this year, for the Euros. England, their own thing is just attack and some bit of midfield, and that's it. For their defense, I'm really scared. No matter how they have four right backs, they can only play one at a time, or they can only play back three.
Now it's
Then
now it's three right backs. Trent is out of the tournament. So
yeah, so I'm seeing them playing a 3-5-2, type of system. They do not have very good goalkeepers, except their goalkeeper surprises us with anything. But we know how England goalkeepers are in national assignments, from Calamity James to Calamity Green to who else? And Pickford, you can trust him all the time. And Nick Pope, that was to be there. Now he's injured, he's out. So they have Justin from West Bromwich Albion, and then they have Henderson from Man United. And these are not, you can't say these are world-class goalkeepers. So I don't really, trust the English goalkeeping department, when it comes to the national team. And then Portugal, they have the
Defending champions as well.
Yeah, exactly. They have the pressure of the defending champion. So we will see how they come out, and because
I think their
group.
Yeah, their group is actually really,
the group
really
of death. So France, who else? Portugal and Germany, right?
Germany, yeah.
And then Hungary.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting group. But the good thing is that 3 teams qualify.
Oh yeah, because it's a 24 team.
Yeah. That's
tournament.
exactly how they won it last time. They came third in their group, and then they ended up winning the tournament. So
I would be seeing to that what happened. Germany, I don't really know much what Germany has, but I think they have very, very good prospects.
They always do.
Rebuilding, and with the Champions League winning trio from Chelsea and those from Bayern Munich, and from Dortmund as well, and Man City, Gundogan, So another team that is really, I want them to surprise, and I want them to go far and maybe reach the final with Belgium. They have very, very good players, but the team itself, I don't really know, because in the last World Cup, I don't think they played a lot of strong teams prior to reaching the semifinals, right? Just the same like England.
They did beat Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil is not the same Brazil that we used to know. So, but Belgium this golden generation need to do something, or there will be like the Portuguese golden generation. Remember the Luis Figo, Gomes, and all those very, very top players,
Rui Costa.
They had, that's Euro 2000 and Euro 2004, Portugal had their golden generation, but they did not win it. So Belgium it's somewhat, in that phase again. And before the next one, these guys might have, they've reached their peak and they're going down. Hazard is 30, De Bruyne is 29, or I can't remember. So Courtois is getting older. I know goalkeepers are different, but Lukaku is 27, I guess.
Yeah.
Or 28.
Yeah, I think it's 27, yeah.
So if they don't do anything this time, and in the next World Cup, they forget about it. They have to forget about it, So I'm looking to see Belgium, but the most exciting team for me, the blue.
Yeah, I think France will have a lot of pressure going into the tournament, but I think they did the same in the World Cup. They had a lot of pressure, but they were fantastic throughout. So we'll see. I don't imagine there'll be too many. I think the tricky game for them in the group might actually be Portugal, just because of the profile of players. It's more of a profile thing than a. It's not that the teams are equal, but the profile of players Portugal has. They're very devastating on it. They're a very counter-attacking team.
Portugal is could be a tricky team.
Yep.
They have very silky players that you think that they cannot perform.
Yeah.
They can just catch you. They will just catch you off guard. I mean, Ronaldo is the center point, but there are other people that do the work. In the engine room there.
Bernardo is very good. Bernardo is very
good
for Portugal.
I was just about to mention they have very good creative players. They have creative players that can create, and make things happen. So we will see how it goes with them. And the players that will not be there.
I mean, it's an interesting one. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, we'll see how it is. It's been a while since I felt. I think the last Euros I enjoyed 16, but I think 12 was really really good. Of course, Spain won it again.
Yeah.
They just kind of matched like I think they started really slow and then they destroyed Italy in the final. So we'll see. We'll see.
Spain right now,
They're
unfortunately,
not really good. I don't think
they're
they're a good
not,
side.
they're not, yeah,
Although, even that said, they're one of these sides where I feel like they can put in a shift. Like I look at some of the players they have, it's nothing like before. They're not going to do
no,
the Spain passing around, pass and move, but it's very, I don't know the word to use. Like these are just like, they're very straight to the point. Someone like
hmm
Danny Olmo, for example, that kind of guy is a good tournament player to have. I don't see them going very far, but it wouldn't surprise me if they actually go heads down and go really far. Maybe
yeah,
quarterfinals in this one. So we'll see. There's a lot of
yeah,
good
but
teams.
there are a lot of good teams. But yeah, if you look at Spain's, you know, what they are known for in their national team, 2010, 2008, right? That was the one that won.
Yep.
And then they won the World Cup 2 years after, and I think
And
they
then they
won the
won the
2012
Euros again.
again.
Yeah.
So feels that's a lot of pressure for this generation right now. So well, we'll see. You know, we'll,
You will see how it
uh,
goes. And then
looking forward to it.
finally, we'll talk quickly about the Copa America. Um, I don't know why these tournaments are happening at the same time. It's just so weird, but it is what it is. So Brazil won the last one actually quite easily. It wasn't
Hmm
vintage Brazil by any means, but they were really good throughout the tournament. They're very focused, very tidy. They have very, very good players across the pitch. So I don't think Neymar wasn't in the last cup. I think he was injured. If my memory
I
serves
think he was
correctly.
injured. I can't remember. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
I
I
think
didn't actually follow the last one. You know, um, religiously like I
yeah.
normally do. The previous one that I have watched,
There are just
and
too many good players before. Like Chile had that golden generation, which is gone. Those
oh
players are
my,
no longer anymore.
team that walloped Argentina. What is it?
Yeah, twice, back to back.
And then
The-
the one I had pity on Messi. That was where I had pity on Messi. He was
yeah,
crying after the
anyway,
final. They're like,
uh,
oh my
those
word.
two were like some of the best tournaments I've seen because of just how good Chile was. Like Chile was just a good side. Like, but
Yeah.
they've lost that whole team. That they're still in the team, but those players are all past their best.
Of
Like
course, now
Vidal,
they're past their prime.
Alexis
They're really.
Sanchez, all of them. They're all, yeah. So there's not. I don't want to say I'm not excited about Copa America. It's just that there's not that many. Brazil is Brazil. They're very strong. They're the obvious on paper favorites to win it
Hmm
again. In my opinion, I don't see any team really. But again, these kind of tournaments surprises are not uncommon. But I don't really see any team really contesting. It's not like they will blow teams away. Like these South American teams are very tough.
Oh, they are very
So
strong.
it's not like,
Colombia will put up a good
yeah,
performance, I think, because Zapata from Atalanta he's
Muriel is
Colombian.
also there.
Muriel is Colombian.
Yeah.
Falcao is still playing. James Rodriguez,
James Rodriguez
and
actually is not in the squad. Funny enough, they didn't choose
oh,
him. They actually didn't pick him for this tournament,
oh my, maybe
which is crazy.
Everton spoiled his
Yeah,
legs.
and
No
Argentina is a
offense, no
top
offense
heavy
to
side.
Everton fans. Sorry, no offense to Everton fans and the Everton club. But maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah. Argentina is not at the level. They have only players I recognize in the Argentina squad are in front. They're just forwards. Messi, Dybala, what's his name?
Di
Icardi,
Maria,
Di Maria. I don't see any midfield. I don't see any.
Aguero.
It's just forwards. They're just
Yeah,
blessed.
the thing is that I think sometimes Argentine players are scattered all over in maybe not so You don't normally find Argentine midfielders in the top leagues and top clubs in
They're
Europe.
always at home. They always
They
stay.
are always at home, Boca
Yeah.
Juniors, River Plate, or maybe even playing in Mexico, and they make the national team, But when they wear that jersey, I'll be Celeste.
Yeah.
They want to die on the field. They want to break their legs, maybe for individual glory,
Great.
because that's what has happened to the team, that they have not really, won anything as a national team. So we will see. I think this is their last chance of Messi and Co.
It's funny. We've been saying that since 2000.
I think this is their last chance. I mean,
they've had like
I,
four chances. They've had like four chances in a row.
but they had time then. They had time, but now they do not have time. Messi is 31, 34. So now they do not have time. Is it 34 or 32? I can't remember. Aguero is 32 already, or 33 actually.
Yeah, I think Messi is 34 actually.
So
they're playing Chile in their first game. So if that game goes wrong, then their tournament is over, I think. But,
well,
oh man, their group is actually
Brazil.
terrible. Their group is really strong. They have Uruguay in their group.
Oops.
And they have Chile in their group. Ooh, this might get really ugly. Yikes. Yeah.
Well, good luck to them. I think it has been moved to Brazil. So Brazil will have a hosting advantage as always. And I think Brazil will win the Copa America. I think so.
Okay, so that's our predictions again. But yeah, so
I mean,
I don't see any other team.
Just look at the Brazilian team. Just look at let's start from the goalkeepers.
Yeah, it's too
Two
much.
world-class goalkeepers in the Brazilian team.
Yeah.
Look at the defense. Now look at the midfield. And look at the attack.
Yeah, they have there's no reason why they shouldn't win this tournament, to be honest. I think they will make
exactly. Except if there's any team that goes to bring the Germany of 2014. Oh, but yeah, if you look at all the players and two for every position. Marquinhos is Brazilian, and then
I don't know if Thiago Silva has retired from the team. I'm not sure. But...
I don't think no, he's not retired. He's playing, so he's not retired. He's not retired yet. So Fernandinho is not retired. So that tells you what they are coming to do, and they would want to win it.
Okay, so we're going France for Euros. You're going Brazil for Copa America.
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to. I forget when the Confederations Cup is because it's been a while.
It will be next year.
Yeah, I think Germany won the last
next year before. It will be next year before the World Cup.
Oh yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. I remember 2013 when Brazil defeated Spain 3-0. That's one of the best finals I've ever seen. That was it was just and then 2014 happened. But yeah.
The next tournament I'm looking forward this summer is the Gold Cup.
Yes.
The Gold Cup. I'm looking forward to it. And when is it coming out? So I think it's
I don't know. I have to check. I think it's July 2nd.
July 2nd to August 1st.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that tournament.
But we know who's going to
win. Players. Definitely it's going to be Mexico. Mexico.
Oh.
Viva Mexico. So Mexico is going to win it, but I want to see what Canada is going to present in that.
They have a decent team this time.
That's
so I think
what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
The Americans will always be Americans. They have always had good players, all over, So I'm looking forward to it. And as well, like Honduras, Costa Rica is also a good team in the CONCACAF Federation. So it's not just a walkover tournament for anyone, they just have to play through, and the best wins, and you know,
Yeah.
but we'll see. It's a tournament that I'm looking forward to. It's a tournament that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. But anyways, there's lots planned. We're going to keep doing more podcasts. We have I think before the start of the Euros, we'll probably do one more.
Yeah.
That just more in depth on the groups. Like each group, we'll do our predictions for each group.
Hmm.
And then
That'll be great.
that'll be good. So that's probably our next one, but we'll catch everyone on the next one, obviously.
Sounds fun.